Our good friend Scott Griffin in Birmingham. Scott, we have not talked to you since the Oklahoma game and just the way that game played out. And I think you laid out a lot of great points last week about some of the deficiencies where this Alabama team was, especially offensively. Now that you've watched that game and now you saw the way that transpired after the loss, what do you make of the Crimson Tide as they sit right now?
First of all, should I leave my key fob in the picture?
You know what? I say so. It's like a badge. It's like an FBI badge. You know what I mean? It's
You
a
can rock
symbol.
that.
You gotta have that to get in TV stations. We're top secret around here. So what do I make of where they are now? Is that what?
Yeah, just because we talked about the offensive struggles last week, and I think you highlighted a really good point about how Alabama's a little bit vulnerable, and they kind of showed that.
Yeah, they were because everybody says they need to run the ball, but they actually ran it pretty well. They just made mistakes offensively. Obviously, you can't do those things and win against a quality team. That the interception return killed them. Simpson's got 2 all year, but that one just absolutely killed him last week. I didn't understand putting Ryan Williams at punt returner for the first time all year. That was kind of a bizarre move. That's like, okay, maybe if we throw him out there, he'll return one for a touchdown kind of thinking. That's kind of weird. But, they just got beat. Oklahoma's good. They won at Tennessee. They won at Alabama. So there's something to the Sooners. That's why they're in the playoff hunt.
Scott, I feel like a couple weeks ago we were sitting here talking about how Ty Simpson could win the Heisman. Do you think he's out of it at this point?
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
He hasn't had that moment, and his numbers really took a downturn the last couple of weeks, and Mendoza had that magical moment, even though it was a great catch against Penn State. It was a good pass too, but everybody blew it up. So, and for some reason, everybody talks about a Heisman moment. I guess there's validity to that, but I don't think Simpson can do anything. That doesn't mean I don't think he'll fly to New York. He still may fly to New York. He probably will be top 3 or 4, but I think Mendoza will win the Heisman.
For sure. When you talk about this Alabama defense, it feels like the emphasis going into this year was creating turnovers. And for the first time all season, they lost that turnover battle. But it seems like Kane Wommack's crew is really still doing a good job defensively. Oklahoma had 212 yards, I believe, in that game, the least amount of yards they've ever had in a win. What do you make of the defense trying to just continue to hold the rope as the offense figures itself out?
Well, I think they played well against Oklahoma. To your point, they doubled them up from yardage on offense to defense. But again, they just had those mistakes turn into scores. So look, they still have that propensity to start slow. Sometimes they don't really come out of a gate and put their foot on somebody's throat. So they'll usually give up some yardage or a touchdown or some points early on, but then they seem to settle down, make some adjustments, and get it done. So to your point, I think they're playing very well. I don't know how great Oklahoma's offense is. I don't think it's that explosive, but, they should be able to handle Eastern Illinois, obviously. And, Auburn's got all kind of quarterbacks playing right now, but that'll be at night. That's Jordan Hare. That'll be a different kind of atmosphere. So who knows what could happen. And Auburn's defense is good. So if it turns into a defensive battle, a player or two could decide it,
For sure. You teed up the Iron Bowl perfectly, and I don't want to overlook Eastern Illinois, but I think
games right now, Gerhard. Come on.
I know it's a tune-up game, and I know we'll talk next week about the intensity of the Iron Bowl.
For crying out loud.
Hey, Tony Romo went there.
Hey, Tony Romo went there. Sean Payton, I think, went there as well.
You remember what Stallings used to say? Stallings used to say, if you don't think it's important, just lose it.
Right.
Which is true, but
exactly.
They've lost 6 in a row. Come on.
Right. Yeah. And
it's a warm-up.
Yeah, I know. But with that Iron Bowl now, 2 weeks away, it seems to me that Alabama could have made that Iron Bowl a 2:30 kickoff, and now it's ho-hum. And after losing that game to Oklahoma, it's now a primetime game, I think, for a lot of reasons. If I'm a TV executive, I vote for the same thing. I want that game at night. Nick Saban has said this place is haunted. How much more pressure do you think that the Iron Bowl game is now on Alabama? And what's Kalen DeBoer's message to his team as they try to do the 1-0 thing every week, but also balance out the fact that this is a really tough place to play?
Well, they kind of screwed up the opportunity to work on Auburn a little bit this week with the loss last week. I don't think he could go in there, and they might have still done a little bit, but I don't think he could afford to do that, although they could just show up and beat Eastern Illinois, obviously. It's an ambush waiting to happen. Auburn is 4-1 in night games in the Iron Bowl.
Wow.
You got that.
Yeah.
Secondly, they can make they've had a bad season. So all they have to play for, all they have, because they're going to win tomorrow and be bowl eligible. So that's off the table. All they got to play for is to disrupt Alabama, which for Auburn is huge.
Right.
Alabama's got all kind of stuff to play for. But, Auburn's got the home field. It's at night, like you said, it'll be crazy. So, yeah, I think not the nervousness, that's the wrong word, but the edginess or whatever, the pressure is certainly more so on Alabama, because everybody expects Alabama to beat Auburn in the last game, except people that know about the Iron Bowl rivalry, right? So it's going to be a lot tighter than the nation thinks, for sure.
Absolutely, and we'll touch on that a little bit more here, but we've seen a little bit of an interesting dynamic with Alabama's offense. We all knew about Ryan Williams coming in, and we've seen the growth of the other receivers, but it's the tight ends that have been really key to this group, Josh Cuevas and as well as Caleb Edwards. Let's hear from head coach Kalen DeBoer on the impact of those tight ends.
Yeah, I think both, in particular, Cuevas and Caleb do an amazing job. And that tight end position's always been important to our offense. It's not just the pass game, but it's the run game, and the ability and the flexibility these guys have to line up wide, be in the core, move around. It's not just physical, it's mental capacity to do all these things. Josh is a stud. You see him on the one play, make a guy miss in the flat, toe the sideline, and then, lower the shoulder at the end of the run. It's just the competitiveness he has. And Caleb, just continues to get better. You can see him with pad level for a tall guy, continuing to work at it. He's got great hands. He's been, throughout the year, a guy that you can consistently count on to catch the ball in tough places. And so there's more to it with our tight end core, but those two certainly get the brunt of what we do as far as the reps.
To me, Scott, the use of the tight ends looked almost a little bit like the Patriots when they had Rob Gronkowski and Hunter Henry and a bunch of other guys in that offense. How impactful has that group been, and how much can they really help out in a championship run?
Well, a lot of that has to do with Ty Simpson and his decision-making, right? Any good quarterback that goes to second and third reads, you can always tell a quarterback is going to extended reads if the tight end's catching passes, unless it's Gronk or Kelsey or someone like that. Then they're the first option. But on most teams, George Kittle, throw him in there. But on most teams, the tight end's not the first option. So if they're getting passes, your quarterback's really good and working through progressions. So yes, they're making some good catches, but that's really Ty Simpson going through his progressions and, utilizing everybody like a good quarterback does. So I almost lay that compliment at his feet. Not that the tight ends are catching it, but their numbers have definitely gone up probably the last 4 or 5 games
100%.
For sure. And it makes them, it's better. They've got 3 receivers, as you talked about, with Horton and Bernard and Williams. So you would think one of those 3 would be open, but it's great to throw to backs and tight ends too, right?
Absolutely.